Hello, everybody. Welcome to Evolve Into Wholeness. This is Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio live stream. Heal in your divine light. Live in your power. Okay, show of hands. Type it in the chat, or if you are listening to this in a video, how many of us are tired tonight? A little rundown from the week. Me, I. So it happens. It's just a part of how things are. That's why it's so important that you have a sacred space to come together to talk about and to experience your, mine, and everybody else's healing. So that's what this live stream is about. Now, if you remember, on Monday, we talk about mindful moments and microlearning. We are exploring the science of the sacred book together. Tuesdays are healing in real life. So we have stories and ideas, small gains, small losses or challenges, big gains, big wins, and so forth regarding healing, our own healing. And then Wednesday is Threads of Trinity. Yesterday I crocheted. If you joined, I asked you to bring your creative projects with you so we could create together. So yesterday that was that, and we talked about, one of the things that we talked about was obviously creativity as therapy, but also we talked about forgiveness and how important forgiveness is to your healing. Tonight is Light Talk and Spirit Flow. And tonight is going to be one of my favorite topics. But before we start that, we need to do our breath work. So we need to do this one simple breathing technique, which is good for so many things, but we want to release the intention, and you want to make the intention to release everything from the day, the emails, the conversations, the drama, the anxiety, the stress, whatever built up through today prior to coming here, we need to release it. So here we go. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and use your hand, push it away. Push all that stuff away. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. With your hand, push everything away. Deep breath in through the nose. And let it out slowly. With the hand, push it away. That is one way, one thing that you can use anytime, any place, to just kind of clear out. And what it does, it gets oxygen to our brain, and it helps us to be able to think more clearly, focus, etc. So the next thing we always do before we start getting into the topic of our live stream is we say our opening mantra. Now, the opening mantra is rise in light, and I'm going to say it, and I want you to repeat after me. I rise in truth. I breathe in healing. I walk in wholeness. I am perfectly imperfect, and I evolve through love, light, and purpose. So now that we did our opening mantra, now that we did our breath work, if you're just joining me now, we do we do a breath in through the nose, let it out through the mouth. With a hand motion, we just make the intention and push everything away from the day. I usually do a series of 3, but you can do as many as you would like. Now, before we actually get into it, the last thing that's so important to do after releasing is to put your hand over your heart And with your inner voice, I want you to make the intention, I am going to connect with my heart. So let's do that for a minute. Just let your breathing be normal. Okay, now tonight's topic is, where am I here? I got to get my notes. Get my notes. So I told you and I promised you throughout this week that I would share a personal story with you. And I'm going to do that. But the topic, first of all, is the presence of archangels, guardians, and your natural tuition. So, friends, I want to talk about something deeply personal, something many of us feel, but often don't know how to name it. That is the presence of archangels, guardians, divine helpers that walk with us. And I want you to hear this clearly. Every single one of you has is intuitive, not gifted, not special, not chosen, just connected. Intuition is not magic, it's alignment. It's the harmony between source, self, others, and the universe. It's something we develop and nurture, strengthen like a muscle of the soul. We were born with this ability, but life, trauma, stress, fear, chaos, it dims the channel. And tonight I want to remind you that you can open it again. Now, first, let's talk about a little bit about this because this falls in the realm of spirituality, the divine, the one creator of all that is, God. And for some reasons, many people have a switch that goes off when it comes to this, to topics like this. And I encourage you to be open, because to be open and let and just listen, and then you can walk away and you can consider and reflect upon, etc. But my personal story first. So let me, the most recent story is this. So I had the opportunity through a friend to go to a local place where they do various things. It's a holistic wellness center, and I was invited to go with my friend, and I met the owner of the place, and there was an immediate connection. I knew I was in the right place, and there was an immediate connection. So after we did the special meditation that this lady was doing, what I did is, after a few days, I reached out to my friend and I asked her to connect us, to help me connect with her so that I could have a conversation. So I initiated our first, formal get together. Fast forward a few days, and what I went and I had my meeting, and we were sitting talking to each other. Not anything in particular, nothing regarding this realm of spirituality, divinity, etc. And she looked at me and she said, "Who's the Mother Mary or the mother figure that's a very strong presence with you?" And I looked at her and I said, "I don't know." And she said, it's a relative, it's like a somebody from your line, somebody from your ancestry. So it's somebody, it's an ancestor. And so I'm thinking, and I said, I really don't know. She says, and Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Michael are present with you. And I told her, I know. And what is, just kind of blows my mind is when you come to the point where you can sense the presence and identify the presence. It's such a it's such an uplifting thing, and it's something that is really kind of pushed down and pushed back in humanity. I'm going to focus on the West, but in general, everywhere. And I think the reason is that people don't understand. And because we're talking about a realm that, it's not like I can touch this table or I can touch this physical object around me. I can touch the microphone. I can touch my notes, my iPad, my computer, whatever. It's something that is not tangible. So what happens is when things sometimes are not tangible, we tend to dismiss them quickly. Well, I learned long ago, don't dismiss anything. So I still had the question of who this mother presence or Mother Mary or motherly presence was. And it was really, and I was racking my brain thinking about ancestors, and I couldn't come up with anybody because I just don't, because of the dynamics and the nature of my family. I did not see any of them in this realm. Okay, I didn't see anybody who I thought would be spiritual or religious uh, or anything. And then this lady friend that I met, we became friends. She's another practitioner, so she said, "And you have these around you, surrounding you." And I said, yeah, I said yes, but I still couldn't get the mother piece. So I left and I noted it in my brain. And I went home, and then later on in the day, I had a telephone conversation with my sister. And I asked my sister who she thought that this might be, because my sister has stayed in the area in which we grew up. She was close in contact with our entire family, all of her life, right? So I asked her who she thought that could be. So we're talking a few minutes, and she told me it's Graham. It's Graham, my grandmother. And I said, why do you think that? And she said, and she talked about, how my grandmother, loved to go to church. Well, I don't ever remember my grandmother going to church. Now, I don't know if that changed after I was an adult and moved out of the house. But anyways, I don't ever remember her, because in my family, we didn't talk about religion or church or anything like that. And as soon as she said that, I felt this overpowering sense of peace and light, and just an incredible, intense feeling of comfort. And I knew it. Another thing is when you're tuned in and to your intuition and you're tuned into these areas, it's not like, oh yeah, I know it, I think so. No, it's, it. It is. And you can't deny it. So that's a story that happened to me most recently. Now imagine all of the stories over the years that, because I wasn't tuned in, because I had kind of, life in people when we're children, especially if anything like this comes up, they sort of like, push it down, push it down, push it. No, they don't, it's not accepted. And it's very clear that it's not accepted early on in one's life, when you're a child, especially. And so what do? We hide it. So I spent probably, more than half of my life kind of steering away from this. I knew, I always put it in the context of religion, but I just kind of steered away from it, and I didn't talk to anybody about stuff like this. And if I got close enough to somebody and I mentioned one small thing, they would always make a comment. I remember one time I told somebody something about, when I pray, I feel like I'm at the throne of God. I feel like I'm there. Like I feel like I can see, like I'm there, like right there. And what that means is I feel just the, the colors, the colors, the impressions, the beauty, the awe. And immediately this person said, don't ever say that to anybody, because people are going to think that you're crazy. And I never did say it to anybody for the longest time. But then what happened is, about a decade ago, I started my journey wanting to lose weight. Then I got into all of this healing, health, and wellness, and it developed into now. And what I've come to learn is there's nothing to hide. This is healing. This is part of healing. And I just think it's phenomenal when we talk about, or when you come to the point where and you feel the presence of such grandeur around you. So, like I said, it's not magic, it's alignment. Being intuitive and being able to sense in some way archangels, guardians, divine helpers, etc. It's alignment. And I talk a lot about alignment with yourself, alignment with source, alignment with yourself, alignment with others, and alignment with universe. You cannot be in tune with all aspects of the universe, of the one creator of all that is, God. You cannot be in touch with the entire universe unless you are aligned with every aspect, unless you are connected and aligned in yourself and with source, others, and the universe. It's simply just that simple. And it's something that you have to work on. I use oils, I use crystals, I use a lot, I use meditation, I use sound, color, frequencies, sound healing frequencies. I use visuals. I do a lot of work with my sacred text, the Quran. And really the three, because I've read the Bible, I understand, the Bible, I accept the original form of the Bible. Now the original form doesn't exist today, but I read the Quran in translation. I listen to it in Arabic, which is a language that it was written in, but I listen to the Quran in translation, and then as well. And I when I read, if I read the Bible, for example, then I read it within the context of that of my holy book and what I know about Scripture historically. And then, of course, the Old Testament, which is the Torah. So there's a lot to being connected and developing that muscle, so to speak. And what people don't understand is everybody is born with this ability. We lose it due to life, trauma, stress, fear, chaos, many, many things in life, other people dim that channel. So tonight I want to remind you that you can open it again. So the foundation or of all of this is the connection first. Okay, so let's put this into context. The foundation of all of this, of your intuitive abilities and developing that, um, being able to sense the presence of archangels, guardians, and other entities. There's 4 levels: connection to source, which is the divine, God, light, the creator of all that is, whatever name resonates with you. Without connection to source, intuition becomes distorted. With connection, intuition becomes clear guidance. Number 2, connection to self. Your intuition won't speak through noise, burnout, or self-doubt. It requires inner stillness, honesty, and presence. Now, this is an important one because how many of you are either, and I used to be like this, so I'm not pointing anybody out, but how many of you cannot sit still with and quiet with yourself? There are many people who cannot. So that's something to consider. Number 3, connection to others. We receive intuitive messages through people, relationships, and interactions. Guidance flows through community. I was guided just this week with a presence I knew was with me, but I didn't know who it was. And it was a motherly presence. It's been said to me before, but not, I had forgotten about it because it's been so long. And then this person that I actually met for another reason altogether picked up on it immediately because she's a practitioner and she's intuitive. She picked up on it immediately and she asked me who it was and I couldn't answer. I said, I don't know. But yes, so those interactions and relationships and guidance are important. And then number 4, connection to the universe. Signs, synchronicities, patterns, energy flow. Your outer world mirrors the inner. So the connection on all 4 levels: 1, the connection to source; 2, the connection to self; 3, the connection to others; and 4, connection to the universe. Now, let's talk about what this has to do, or what the power of 3 has to do with this whole concept. So the power of 3 are 3 areas that contain many practices to strengthen your intuition. These align directly with our Evolve Global 22 pillars: energy medicine, Ayurveda medicine, and herbal medicine. So if we talk about energy medicine, we're talking about energy practices: daily aura and heart centering, cleansing, clearing. I do something called running energy, releasing, doing running divine energy through the body, working with your chakras. You notice how I always start the live stream with putting our hand over our heart. That's an example. The breath work, that's another example. Things that we say, for example, if you were to do this practice, heart centering and clearing, I clear my field, I open to divine guidance. So you're trying to get rid of all the static so the intuition can flow. Now, the second piece here to three areas that we work on at Evolve Global, or three perspectives we work from here at Evolve Global 22, is Ayurveda medicine. So you could, a practice that's aligned with that area is morning stillness and sensory awareness. Your intuition strengthens when your nervous system is balanced. So when you do things like sipping on warm herbal tea in a quiet space in the morning, sitting in silence for 2 to 3 minutes or more, you tune into your senses. What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? You ask yourself, and this is something that you can use. What is my inner truth today? This, after you clear all the static out, this grounds your energy so intuitive impressions can rise. The next is herbal medicine and practices surrounding that. So you can use a guardian blend or a sacred oil to set your intention. Scent anchors intuition. Let me say that again. Scent. So aromatherapy, aromas. Scent anchors intuitions. Oils help you move into a receptive state. So, for example, when I talk about our Trinity Touch oils, the three blends, and I tell you put them on your wrist, put them on your forehead. Yes, there are physical reasons to do that, but there are also spiritual reasons to do that. Sitting quietly for 1 minute and noticing any sensations or insights. All of these things signals your brain and spirit that you're entering a sacred listening space. So when we talk about archangels and guardians, I'm not talking about something far away or unreachable. I'm talking about presence, a presence that's always with you, always has been with you. Your intuition is the bridge. And when you align your energy, Ayurveda lifestyle, and herbal practices, you open the gates. You don't have to wait for a miracle. You are the miracle. And your tuition isn't coming, it's remembering. So some people find this topic a little bit unnerving, or they find it a little bit woo-woo and out there. But if you look and read and study in this arena, and you look for good resources, and we all know there's things that happen that are unexplainable. There are things that occur that we can't explain. They just happen that way. And I'm talking like miracle level stuff. And if you just because there's no way that we can explain it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And another thing, for us to constantly squash it down, push it down, because for whatever reasons, it not only dampens and hampers your ability to be intuitive, and basically you cannot be, but it also damages your soul and your spirit, especially. But if you're damaged in one area, then you are going to face illness, disease in other areas. So tonight was all about my experience with somebody I just met. She picked up that I had specific archangels surrounding me, with one mother, very strong mother figure. I finally figured out who in my ancestors, and I finally figured out who that was. And in order to be able to develop your intuition, and to be able to hone the skill of being able to notice, uh, and be in tune with and intuitive about what and who is surrounding you, is you need to be in alignment. It's not magic, it's alignment. It's the harmony between source, self, others, and the universe. And that's why I broke it down into 4 areas that need to be connected: connection to source, connection to self, connection to others, connection to the universe, in order for intuition to flow and develop flow and then extend. And then we talked about the power of 3, energy medicine, Ayurveda medicine, and herbal medicine, and how each one of these has different practices within those areas that support and open the intuitive channel. We talked about ways that, such as breath work, where you can use that as a release, sitting in silence for 2 to 3 minutes. And we talked about scent, how scent anchors intuition. And we talked about Trinity Touch, the 3 oils that is in our product line that come together. So when we talk about archangels and guardians, we're talking about something, we're talking about something, we're not talking about something far away or unreachable. So that is it for tonight, all. I made this short because as the week goes on, I know everybody is kind of tired, but in order to be able to be healed, we need to work on these areas. And it just feeds into the idea of treating the whole self: body, mind, soul, and spirit. And that's really what this was about tonight. And for me, I'm just not holding back anymore. And I share with you in hopes that it will be helpful to you, either in the now or the near future, because it's, things get more, some of us are really struggling. All of us, I think, are struggling. We're all struggling with something, but some of us are struggling with more than others. So I hope you found this beneficial tonight. If you did, go to my website, www.evolveglobal22usa.com. You can see all of our services. You can see the work that we do. And you can go to the bottom of the homepage. And if you want to support my work and our work, you can leave a gift of gratitude. On that note, I thank everybody for being here. Peace, light, and lots of love to all of you. Good night, all.